Hello and welcome back to Solo Board Game presents Heart of Darkness, an adventure game of African exploration from Legion Wargames, designed by Kim Kanya. This is video number 4 in our How to Play series. We started with an overview. That's video number 1. Then we did the setup. Video number 2, we've done the map phase, which is the start of each game turn. That was video number 3. We're now on video number 4, and this will be the last one. So video number 4, we're going to be now taking a look at the player turn phase, where we'll be conducting several turns per player. And there's only one of us, so we'll be conducting several turns. And it's also called the Matrix phase. So without further ado, let's move our nice artwork out of the way. We've knocked our counters around a little bit. Let's straighten them up. I think we're okay. I'll move my chosen resources up, so we can keep reminding ourselves what we have and what we don't have. Like so. Okay. So we should, move the map then. We should more or less be ready to go. I might just have to adjust the camera a little bit. Okay, if you remember, I explained that, well, in the last video, we moved into the first of our regions to map them, and we confirmed that most of the terrain in Congo area here is savanna. We also mapped where these river forks, these 2 tributaries, were heading for. We mapped that there was another fork over into the Mbala territory and another fork of the river over into the Kimbundu territory. So that done, we've made notes of that, and now we need to thoroughly explore this area. That's what we paid to do. That's what we're going to do. And it's only a small area, look, so how could you put too much detail into there? You couldn't really, so that's why we used the matrix. So our explorer here is represented here on the matrix. So let's take a look at what we do there. Okay, so first of all, we have to populate the matrix with tokens, with potential discoveries. And this will bring that bland brown grid alive. Watch what we do here. The first thing you need to do is take your bag, whichever bag you've placed all your event chits in. Those are your discoveries, your findings, your incidents, and things like that, as we explained in a previous video. And then we're going to dip our hand into the bag and blindly draw chits out of the bag to completely cover the matrix. That's going to be step 1. We're going to completely cover the matrix with whatever tokens we draw out of that bag. And we're going to place them top to bottom, left to right, if you like, as if you're reading a book. And we're going to place a token in every single square except the Explorer square and the number 5 square where it says end here. And I used to think this was a bit of a pain to do because it took a bit of time, but now not only have I speeded up, I've realised after several games that this is the only way to completely randomly place what is there to be discovered within the area, the map area that you just moved into. And there's no other way to do it. And it does make for some exciting movement and adventuring around your area on the map. Very difficult to explain, so I'm just going to start doing it. So we simply dig around in the bag and start drawing them out at random, like so, and placing them top to bottom, left to right, just as if we were reading a book, like so, until we've filled it all in as necessary. And luckily, I've now got a little bit quicker at this after playing a few games. Okay, so that's how we populate the matrix. So all the areas are full now, except the area where our explorer is and except the end here box. Everything else is populated. Now, the only reason we've done that is so that discoveries, and discoveries have a red border, get placed on the matrix representing the map of our area completely randomly. So that mechanic is purely to get these red bordered discoveries on the map purely randomly. So the next thing we do now is start removing all of the counters that do not have a red border. So there we go. They're all on. But you see what that's done? What that's done is it's placed 3 discoveries onto our board completely randomly. Now we have to choose, and you'll see this happening, which directions we're going to go in each particular turn. The other thing we have to ensure, and we're looking at actually, see these circles that are on the discoveries? These are all yellow. Some discoveries will have different colours on, and they refer to the kind of area, the terrain that you've moved into. And the yellow circle, if you look down here at this key, is for savanna and veldt. So we know that these discoveries are in our terrain. We could also have retained any that had a blue circle on because we're in a water zone. If any that had only brown or green for desert or jungle would have to be removed. So we can only retain the ones that would have either had a blue water zone or have yellow for savanna. They would be the only legitimate ones to keep. So at least now we know what kind of discoveries. Now, we know here that's some kind of large lake. Here it's a large mountain. And here it's a tribal kingdom. So very interesting things to discover. The next thing we need to do is, while we're on our way to try and find these things, we may have encounters. So now we take our second bag that are full of our encounters. So this bag has all those white encounters in them. So what we're going to do now is place encounters on the grid, and we only place encounters 2 squares in either direction from our explorer. So we can place encounters theoretically here, 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 here and here, and if there are 2 squares above him, here and here. Do you see what I mean? So that it forms a cross. We can only place encounters in empty squares. So it would be here, it would be here, it would be here. And we can't place anything above him because there is nowhere above him. So that's fairly easy. And again, we place them as if we're reading a book, top to bottom, left to right. So digging about in the bag to get some random encounters that we're going to find on our way, and we place the first one in the first square like so. Wow, okay. And we place the next one, and don't forget only 2 squares in either direction. Look at this. Village. Wow, the first one is a healer, the next one is village. There's only one more available square in the, and another village. Okay. And now, final thing, before our area is complete for this turn. We look at the encounters, and in just the same way as we looked at the circles on the discoveries, we look at the circles on the counters. This one, it has a yellow circle, which qualifies us because we're in Savannah, that's fine. This village has a yellow circle, that qualifies us, we're in Savannah. This one is green or brown, so jungle or desert. So that one does not qualify, so that one comes off and goes back in the bag. And again, in that random fashion, we have now made up our map for this first game turn. Okay, so I'm now going to make my first game turn. Now, every single game turn, I mustn't say game turn. Player turn. I do apologise for that because it is important. Player turn. Everything that takes place on the matrix is a player turn. Each player turn will be drawing 2 events from the events bag. So I'm going to make a move now, but before I do, I'm going to draw 1 counter from the events bag once again. Here we go. This is my events bag. I'm going to draw a completely random counter. And what do we have? I'm going to put it somewhere where we can see it. Oh, wow. Okay. We have a rumour. That's the first counter out of the bag. Is going to be a rumour. Right, now the rumour can be placed in any village or kingdom space that doesn't already have a rumour on it. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got a choice here, haven't I? Do I place it on that kingdom? Do I place it on that village? I don't want to be going too far, so I'm going to place the rumour onto the kingdom. So that kingdom holds some rumours. That's really good. Okay, that's good. Now I can make my move. Now I've got to decide where to move. Well, for me right now, there's only one place to move. I'm going to move east. So I'm going to pick up my chap. I won't put him on the top. I'll just put him in the same square there. Just assume he's in the same square. My arrow comes down and it's there to remind us where I came from. You see, so that's what we used the arrow for. We moved that away. And the next thing, before we interact with this square, we've got to pick up yet another event out of the events bag. Remember I said 2 events per turn. So let's look at what this event is going to be. This is the heart of the game. Things are happening now all of the while. Okay. Lead. So that's a mineral. Oops. So I'm now going to place that in an empty slot, no more than 2 slots away from me. So there's no empty slots here. So, excuse me. Let me think. Where do I want to go? Do you know, I think I will put this here. I'm in this square. That's no more than 2 squares away from me. It's a finding. So there you go. So now, I moved into here and I'm about to start my encounters. First of all, the movement itself, walking our expedition in that direction took 1 time. So I'm going to move 1 time on my player board here. I'm now down to 9 time left. The next thing I'm going to do is do my first interaction. So before I find out anything about that rumour, in fact, I'm not going to have any hope of finding out anything about that rumour unless I can make friends with the chieftain. I've got to impress him somehow. So I'm going to offer him some gifts. I'm going to offer him 5 gifts. I've got 10. Oh no, sorry, I've got 20. That's right. So I'll put that down to 15. There we go. 15 gifts. I'm offering the king 5 gifts. I've now got to roll a d6. If I roll a 6, it's an automatic fail. He won't like me at all. No matter what I do, no matter how many gifts I've offered, if I roll a 6, it's an automatic fail. He simply won't like me. He won't harm me, but he won't like me. Doesn't trust me, and he won't tell me anything about the rumour. What do I want from the king in return? A guide might not be a bad idea, actually. Or canoes. You see, the king is able to give me a guide or canoes, although they only last for the 1 turn. I'm going to ask him for a guide. Can you give me a guide? I'm going to give you these 5 gifts. 4, we rolled a 4. We're fine. So we'll take a guide. We'll take a guide from the resource pool, and for this turn anyway, we have a guide. Interacting with this discovery, the red border, interacting with that discovery, the same as this discovery here, look, all discoveries have the hourglass symbol, so they all take time. So I've got to take another time off our clock. I'm now down to 8. Okay. I place, well, let's get rid of the rumour first. Let's find out where the rumour's going to be. So the king's telling me where the rumour is. So I roll a die, 2. So I take the rumour, place it on the number 2. There we go. It's taken. It's taken by a discovery. Now, can I place... That hasn't happened before. Can I place the rumour on a discovery? Yes, so if a discovery already occupies that slot, I've got to roll it again. And we've got a 4. So we place it on the number 4 in the on the numbers here. So we now know we moved there, we interacted with the tribal chief, we gave him some gifts, he told us of a rumour which is way down here somewhere. That's good. And the actual discovery we've made of the this tribe here now goes onto our map, and in this way that's how we begin to map our terrain. And how good is that? So we've placed that tribal discovery on the map like so. So our map is starting to pad out. We have a rumour somewhere up ahead. It cost us 1 time to interact with the tribe, as well as the 1 time for the actual move itself. And now drama points. When we react with a discovery, we add 2 drama points. So what we now have 3. And I'm pretty sure, let me just check. Because, that's right, we do have a Bible. Now that's why I brought a Bible along. I wasn't sure why, but there you go. We have a Bible. I've been reading it in the camp, I presume, and impressing people. Maybe it's illustrated. So that gives me another drama point. Plenty of stories to tell back home now. It's going really, really well for us. So that's the end of our first player turn. Now the next player will take a player turn. The player after him will take a player turn, and it comes back to us again. So now it's our second player turn. And before we move, the next thing we'll do is populate our board with more encounters. Not the events bag, this is the encounters bag again. So, we are putting the white encounters on the board in blank spaces 2 away from our explorer. Top to bottom, left to right, as if we're reading. We can't put any at the top. We can't put any to the side because they are taken. We can't put any to this side because that's taken. So the only direction where there's a blank is down here. We now have to look at the matrix. And if there's now any, because we moved, if any encounters are now 3 squares away from us, we take them off the board. Okay, let's just check that that encounter is legitimate. It's got a yellow disc on it because we're in Savannah. It is legitimate. It can stay there. Discoveries never come off unless we actually land on them and interact with them. They don't come off just because they're 3 or more squares away from us. The discoveries stay where they are. So that was our first turn. We now want to take another player turn and we're going to move again. Which direction will we move in? Well, while we're thinking of that, we have to draw for the first of our 2 events of this player turn. And the event is going to be, let's have a look. Oh, it's a discovery. So instead of pulling an incident or an event, something like that, we've pulled another discovery. So we've already done our discovery phase. We can't put any more red borders onto our matrix. So that counts as our event for that part of the turn. So now we can make our move. Now, which way are we going to... Are we just going to head back down, head down to that rumour? That's a long way. I might not ever make it there, you know. What do I do? Okay, I think we're going to go down and we'll go in the same square as this finding here. Green border is a finding where there may be lead. Our arrow shows us where we came from, like so. Okay, before we can interact with that potential finding there, we now need to make our second draw of our turn from the events bag. Oh, what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Ah, now, a warband. We've drawn a warband. We're traversing the savannah. We're out in the open. A warband could affect us. We're going to roll a d10. If we're in a jungle, we would ignore that. We get a +3 if we're in veldt or savannah. So you've got to roll a d10, but with a +3. +2 if there's a village encounter in our slot. Well, luckily there isn't. -3 if we have canoes, because they would help us get away. +1 if our ammo is lower than our number of Ascaris. It's not. If the result is higher than the number of Ascaris, we lose a porter and 5 items. So let's roll our die, and it's a +3 because we're in the savannah, we're in the open. It's a 10 plus the 3, that's 13. That's much higher than our number of Ascaris, who couldn't properly defend us. So we're going to lose a porter and 5 items. So we lose a porter, our porters go down to 7. We lose 5 items, by the way, are always food or gifts. Oh dear. We'll lose 5 gifts, which means we've only got 10 left. And now because we've lost a porter, our discontent grows by 1. That wasn't good for a first event, was it? On this, only our second player turn. Okay, that goes back in the bag. Okay, so that was our second event. Now we can interact with this finding, which potentially is lead. So first of all, we've got to lose 1 time for the fact that we moved. Where's our time track? Here we go. We're now down to 7. 1 more time, because it's got an hourglass on there, look, because we're interacting with the lead. So we're down to 6. The good thing is we get another 2 drama points because we're publishing. I'll move it here, look. We're now up to 6. Publishing the fact that we've found lead in our area. So now we can take that finding and place it into our mapped area here. This is superb. Look at how our map is building up. And if you were playing multiplayer, or if you were playing solo, 2-handed or 3-handed, you'd be building up these areas around the map. We know the terrain, we've mapped the rivers, we've visited a local chieftain, we've discovered lead. We're doing okay. And finally, before we move on to our next turn, I've just remembered something. There are a lot of rules here, guys, so please forgive me, because I'm talking as well, and trying to remember things to tell you. That in itself means that I might occasionally miss something, and I've just missed the fact that I've just dealt with the finding there, the green bordered finding, which I dealt with, the lead, and we've mapped on our area here. But each time I deal with a finding or a discovery anywhere on the map, I've got to roll and remove, potentially, the rumour. The reason for that is that by taking time to investigate a finding or a discovery, in doing so, I may have learned something else about the rumour, another piece of information, just like you do in real life, which may change the location of the actual rumour. So, once I dealt with that finding, I should have rolled this d6. It's a 2. I can't place it on the 2, just like before, because we can't move a discovery. So we roll again, and it's a 4. So luckily, it's in the same place. So we keep it there. That's absolutely fine. So that's the end of our player turn here. Our next player turn. So now someone else takes a player turn, and then the third player, and so on, and then it comes back to us again. We're going to take another player turn. So let's put some encounters on the board. And these are the ones we place in a cross fashion, as we've mentioned before. So which are the free areas? Well, can't place any above me, but I can to each side. Yes, I can. Oh, here we go. A wildlife encounter. That's a rhino. Yet another village. Yet another village. And where else can I place it? Down here, look. Here we go. And another village. There we go. Now, it hasn't changed anything, but again, I'm just reminding myself, because we chose telescope when we picked our resources, we're panning the horizon, and we can place an extra encounter in a diagonal area. Can't be there because that's already taken by fighting. Discovery, sorry, but we can there. Nice empty slot there. So let's put an extra encounter there. Whether it will make any difference, I don't know, but it adds to my choices. So let's take one out of the bag. And yet another village. Good grief. Okay, and that's just because we had the telescope. Now we've got to take encounters off that are no longer valid. 1, 2. So that's any counter that's 3 or more away. That's a water. That one's got to come off anyway. Sorry about that. Because it hasn't got a yellow dot on it. That's just green and brown. So that's got to come off. So that'll go back in the bag. That village one that I just placed down here. Oh, that's blue, and that's fine because we're in a water zone. That's fine. So any that are 3 away, 1, 2, 3. So that encounter has now got to come off because that's 3 away. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. 1, 2. That's okay. 1, 2. So we're okay. So that's what we've got to deal with now. And you can see how your map changes. So our view of the world is changing as we're moving on. So now the first of our 2 events for this game turn. Out we come. Out of the bag. And it's a rumour. Now, if there's another activated rumour already on the matrix, we ignore a second rumour. So that just goes back in the bag. Now we do our move. Now, which way do you know? I'm going to keep going towards that rumour, but which way? Which way? Either way is going to be the same, is it, do you think? By that I mean, do we move downwards? There's a wildlife encounter there, or this way, there's a wildlife encounter there. You can never move diagonally. I think the obvious thing to do would be to move downwards. So, here we go. We'll just go into there. That reminds us where we came from, which is fine. Before we react with this encounter, we've got to draw our second event. Like so. Give me something good. Come on, come on, come on. Oh no, no entry. But that's fine. We drew it as our second event. If we drawn it as our first event, it means that we can't enter. There's a no entry sign. Let's just put it there for a second. It means that we can't enter a square that has a finding or a discovery on it this turn. No entry. But we drew it as a second event. So in that case, we would return any discovery or finding from our current slot and not gain any drama points for them. That kind of thing. But encounters, again, it has no effect. So thank you, Mr. No Entry. Off you go into there. But you can see how it can really mess you up. And in a multiplayer game, a lot of these events, a lot of this misfortune would be discussed and laughed at, I'm sure, as play goes to and fro. So the next thing we're going to do is encounter the wildlife. That snake there. There's all sorts of pictures of wildlife on the wildlife encounters, but the actual wildlife token itself is purely generic, if you like, kind of thing. So we're going to do a hunt because it's wildlife. And we're going to use the D10, let's get that out of the way, to do the hunt with. So we'll do the success roll with the D10, and it's a 3. Success roll of D3. If it's equal to or less than the number of Ascaris that we have, then the hunt is a success. So that means we can gain 2 gifts. Let's have a look. So we'll gain 2 gifts. Gifts 2. So now we've got 12 gifts. Okay, that's because there would be maybe ivory, that kind of thing. Actually, it's a picture of a snake. Even the snake skin dried, and that was used to decorate various things, wasn't it? So we've gained 2 gifts, and we'll also, because we were successful, double the amount of food that we take from this animal. And we do have to eat, and we are hunting for food. So we'll roll the D6. Oh, that's rubbish. We get a 1. That's a poor roll. But there are so many, and I wonder if I can just find the player aid here. There's lots and lots of, here we go. There's lots of potential modifiers on the encounter chart. Wildlife, dependence on what our last encounter was. For instance, none of these, by the way, apply to us. But it'll change whether the wildlife's abundant, whether your previous encounter was a village, changes if there's a storm. Now, the one that affects us, if we have a rifle, we get +1 on the D6. So we actually rolled a 2. And because we had a successful hunt, that was our success die. We can double that, as I said before. That 2 becomes a 4. So we got 4 food. Not brilliant at all. Actually, not very pleased with that. That's not great. So that 4 becomes an 8. So we've now got 28 food. Okay, so that was our hunt. We don't get any drama points for it, but we must remember, because we did move, we've got to take another 1 off our time. So we're now down to 5. Okay, and that ends our player turn. Other players have their turn, and now it comes back to us. So we're moving pretty quickly here. So you can see that once you start moving on the matrix, your turns go pretty quickly, and there's lots of player turns, as you can see now, in any given game turn. So here we go. We have to place our encounter die 2 up, so 1 can go there. That's a wildlife encounter. And then this side, 1 goes there. Gosh, lots of wildlife encounters. 1 goes to this side. Another village. Isn't that strange? We have a row of villages down here. And then beneath us, we can't place another one. Now we have to remove those counters that don't apply to us because of the coloured circles, or that are 3 or more squares away. So let's have a look. That one's in, that one's in, that one's in, that one's in. That one's in. That one comes off because he's 3 away. Take that one off. Now, also, the next thing that comes off is this one. In fact, I couldn't really place him. So I'm going to take that off. I'll tell you why. Because around the rumour, there now extends a wasteland. So anything placed in that wasteland would get removed, because the rumour is in the centre of a wasteland that we have to try and get to. Doesn't affect the original placed discoveries. So that's the wasteland rule for the rumours. So that's our next placement, but no matter what's placed here, nothing's going to put me off my, oh, sorry, nothing, yeah, that's right, no, I'm fine. I was going to do something wrong then. Nothing's going to put me off my quest. I'm now moving this way to that discovery there. That's what I'm looking for, that lake. So, for this turn, let's draw from our events bag again and see what we're going to get. Oh, success! That's not bad. That's a success token, a success event, if you like. Now, success means, and I don't think it's going to help us in this particular case. I wish we'd have drawn that second, actually. But drawing success like that means I can either return an encounter that's in my slot. Well, I've already interacted with that, so that's not going to help me with anything. Or I can refrain from rolling a single die that's demanded by a chit in my current slot. Already reacted with it. So you can see, if it was drawn as a second event, that might be more helpful, because I don't have to roll a die if there's any die roll to be rolled for that particular encounter. Instead, you would just choose the result. Be very good for villages and chieftains, that kind of thing. So really, that has neither helped nor hindered. That event is a bit of a non-event for us, unfortunately. And then before we draw our next event, we'll make our move. And I think it's pretty obvious. We're going to move on to this red bordered discovery like so. We'll remind ourselves the direction we moved from. That's what our arrow is for. Yes, so we've moved on to that discovery. We've taken another time because we've moved again. So we must keep remembering to, and you see how our time's moving down. We started at 10 and we're now right down to 4. Now we draw our event for this particular turn, like so. And it's another discovery, a red bordered discovery. So we simply ignore those. We don't redraw, they just go back in the bag. It's a non-event. We took our time off for moving. Now, of course, being a discovery, it's got an hourglass mark on it. So we take more time off for interacting with that discovery. We take our 2, because it's a discovery. Remember, each one we get 2 drama points, so we're now up to 8. See, it's taken a while to map this tiny area. Just imagine how much you'll have discovered by the time you move several areas. And especially if you're playing 2-handed or maybe 3-handed or with 2 other people. Absolutely superb. There's no other event on there to interact with. So we take Chappie off, and we've discovered this fantastic lake in our map zone. Where should we place that? Where shall that be? I think it shall be here. Yes. Let's move these up here a little bit. That sounds a bit more space. There we go. So that's our discovery on there. Now, did I choose a set of paints? No, I didn't. Because this large lake, if I'd have bought my set of paints, I'd have set up my easel and do a painterly sketch. I think watercolours were a big deal about this time. But I didn't. What else? Okay, because my patron is the Royal Geographical Society, for instance, exploring, and I found a great lake. They want to publish this. They want to publish this in a multiplayer game. I could get 3 more drama points for that. But in a single player solitaire game, that's a bit unfair. So I can only get 1 extra drama point. So I've got the 2 for the discovery. Here's another drama point. Look, I'm now up to 9 drama points for this particular turn. Gosh, we're doing okay. And we're getting pretty close to that rumour. Now, we moved on to the discovery, and we've encountered it. We've recorded the time it took. We've recorded drama points, but because it was a discovery or a finding, we now have to roll for the rumour again. Because during that discovery, we found out another bit of missing information about the rumour. It might not be where we thought it was. Let's have a look. A 2. Good grief. What is it being a 2? And a 2 would put it in the slot that I'm in. That's not allowed. I wish it was. So I've got to roll again, and it's a 3. So where's the number 3? Okay. Yes, that's up here. Number 3. There it is. The rumour is behind us. Can you imagine that? It's behind us. And we have to remove whatever it landed on, unless it was a discovery. So that goes back in the bag. We have to create that wasteland that appears around it in a cross shape, 1 in each direction. So that means that has to go, and that will go back into the encounter bag. So basically what we've now found out is we've already passed that rumour. That's now somewhere behind us. We're going to have to go back. So that's where we came from, wasn't it? Okay. So that's how that works. Wow. Yes. Okay. Good. That's the end of a player turn. Other players get their turn. Now we come back to our next player turn, and we put on our encounters. 2 in each direction. Let's go. Upwards first. Place it there. Then in this direction. Okay. Next one. Next one. Can't put one there because the rumour is there. Oh, tusks. And below, which we can do now. Oh, and tusks again. Okay, now remove any that are illegal or that are 3 or more away. 1, 2, that's okay, that's okay. It's a yellow dot. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 away, that's got to be removed. 1, 2, 3, that's got to be removed. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, we're okay. Are we okay? Yes, we're okay. Oh! That's within the cross here. So that's got to be removed. That's got to be removed because of the wasteland from the rumour. And that's where we are right now. Okay? So, wow. Okay, we're nearly there. We've got to go and find that rumour, haven't we? We've got to, surely. Yes. Okay, so, yes. So, the first of our 2 events that's got to come out the bag first. Get a really good old shuffle. And it's another rumour. We can't place it because there's already one active. So that goes in there. No, I'm quite happy with that. The less events I have right now, the better. I'm moving into the rumour. Dun, dun, dun. Change my arrow. There we go. So we've made our move. We've got to take another time off. We're down to 2. Ouch. Okay, not much time left. Okay. Okay. Draw our next event out of our Eventus McBaggers. Really good scramble around right at the bottom. What have we got? Not again. How is that possible? How is that? There are dozens and dozens. That's a full bag. There are dozens and dozens of events in there, and I've picked a rumour again, which I can't use. Absolutely fine. Okay, fine. Now, I've got to activate the rumour. I've now got to find out what that rumour was. I've got to draw a special discovery. So I get my special discovery cup. Where are you? Which one is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. In there are some special discoveries, which I have to now draw one out of the bag to find out what that rumour was all about. So let's take a look now at what we're going to find. But I don't want to see. Turn it over that way. Okay, I haven't looked yet. Leprosy. Leprosy! No! I've not drawn that one before. What does it mean? Leprosy. Let's grab the rule book. I'm taking a look here in the rule book. Look where all the rumours are explained. Leprosy. Where's leprosy? Why is it? Why is it leprosy? Is it leprosy? Yeah, it is leprosy. Does that mean... Oh, there it is. Yes, of course. Suddenly, you are among people with leprosy. They will be happy if you give them, by returning, all of your cannabis to ease their pain. If you do not, or you have none, then they will give you a kiss of death instead. If so, lose 1 sanity and 1 health. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. This picture, it isn't a photograph or anything like that. That's taken from a statue from a bust, apparently. But did I choose any cannabis oil? Yes, I did. I got to give it all to them. I chose 2, look. So I give it all to the afflicted, which means I return them. I used them up, they're gone. We've got no more cannabis oil left after that, so that goes back to the pool. And luckily we were able to do that. How about that? Luckily we were able to do that. So luckily we were able to do that. So we do not get the kiss of death. I'm going to put leprosy. It's only right to do so, isn't it? Mark it on our map. Like so, as a special discovery. Well, and the thing is, when you draw a special discovery, your time is up. And the designer Kim Kanga has clarified this on BGG. This specific incident was asked a question of in the forums there. If you draw a special discovery and it says that all time stops. There it is. You go down to a stop. Is it a hard stop? Or can we then use our guide, because this is what the guide does, to give us 2 more minutes or 2 more times of exploration? And the answer was no, we can't do that. It's a hard stop. When you lift that special discovery, it's a hard stop. That's it. Your turn's over. Our time's up. Back down there. Our guide, the simple lesson there is we should have used him before now. Oh dear. And because we've come to a hard stop, our guide, he only lasts for 1 game turn anyway. He too has to be returned to the resource pool. So although we gained a guide, didn't we, off our chieftain, we haven't taken advantage of him. That's a hard stop. So there's good and bad there. First of all, we've got to add our drama points for that special discovery. And that special discovery, leprosy, that's going to give us 3 drama points. Look at this. So we go from 9, 10, 11, 12 drama points to publish. Our player turns are finished, as I said, because we've come to a hard stop. I've not finished my turn on the number 5 slot where it says end here. You don't have to do that. But if you end your turn anywhere else, you have to take a health check. The only thing that can stop that are 2 things. One, if you end your turn on the end here box, you don't have to do a health check. And the other one is if you end your turn by making a special discovery and have to come to a hard stop, you don't have to take a health check either. So that is really, really good. Right, any desertion rolls? These guys have been through a lot. They've carried our goods and we've moved as a team all the way through our new area, but has there been any desertions? Let's have a look. So I've got to make a d6 roll. First of all, for the porters, if it's higher than my sanity, a porter will desert. It's not, thank goodness. Now for the Ascaris. If it's higher than my health, and it is, oh dear, and Ascari deserts. I've not got a revolver, so I can't stop anybody deserting. Oh no. But I could spend a quinine. Did I get it? Yes, I did get some quinine. No, I won't. I've got a feeling quinine's going to come in really, really useful. I'll keep my quinine. Okay, 1 deserts. I've now got only 7 Ascaris, but of course it means discontent increases by another 1. Oh dear. Okay. That'll do. So, what we do then is we remove absolutely everything from our matrix. He goes back to the start here slot. Our arrow goes back up there. I'll just pop these back in the bag. Back. So we're almost ready for another turn. A bit of time has passed and I'm losing the natural light now. As you can see, I'm starting to get a bit of glare off the map here. But that's basically our situation. I think hopefully you can now see how our drama track, our drama points have increased. We're up to 12 drama points after the completion of 1 full game turn. And now I think it's time to start a second game turn. So first of all, we'll do our turn track. We'll take these off for now. Okay. So first of all, we need to place our health marker. So we get our D6, roll our D6. We've got 3 minus 2, remember, because we're playing solitaire. So that's actually a 1. And that goes on the 1 space again. Now for our horror marker, which affects our sanity. Oh, it's a 2 minus 2. It would end up going on top of there. It can't do that, so it goes in the next available slot, like so, which means that my turn marker is going to have to go there, like that. So first of all, I'll have to make a health roll, and because I'm below it, look, I'm below the marker. So here we go, we roll a d6, there's no modifiers. We've rolled a 2. And if that roll is equal to or less than my health, I lose a health. So I'm now down to only 4 health. Like so. And now I've got to do the same with the horror marker for my sanity. So I'll roll that now. This time, now I'm rolling for sanity. If my health is higher than sanity, I get a +1, or -1 if it's lower. So I get a -1. Nothing I can do about that, is it? -1 is 3. If it's equal to or less than sanity, I lose 1 sanity. So my health and sanity each dropped by 1 at the start of this game turn. So I'll start the game turn with 4 of each. Okay, I've got to feed my people. I've got 7 Ascaris and 7 Porters, total of 14. So I'll lose 14 food from 28. You see, that's a lot. That's a lot of food to lose. So I'm down to 14 in total now. I certainly know that on the next matrix phase, when we're exploring in detail our new area, somehow I need to come up with some food. The time marker. I should have done this before, actually, because before my health was 5. And at the end of the last turn, that's when I should have done it, when my health was 5, because you get 5 time plus your health. So I would have got 10. So I hope you don't mind me just backtracking on that. That should have been done at the end of the last turn when my health was 5. Now, the next thing we're going to do is make our move into a new area. And here we are. So, this is how we mapped that first area. There's a lot of mapping going on there, wasn't there? Which way do I go now? Now, I'd like to follow one of the rivers. So I could either move into Mbala territory or Kimbundu territory. I could go Teke, but there's no river running that way, which is fine, but I'd rather move into a water zone if possible. So I think I'll move to Mbala. Okay, that's where we're going. Now then, what terrain does Mbala have? Now there's no presumed terrain, look, like there was in these more coastal areas. So we have to find out what kind of terrain we have there. So the first thing we've got to do is draw one of those strange colour code markers again. There we go. They're all in there. So in we go. Please not like we did before when we had the same shape again and again. Green dot. Okay, so potentially we could have the same terrain as green dot. And, oh dear, I'm going to have to move that. There's no terrain there. There's no terrain there, look, because there's our green dot border. So that's no good for us. So that goes back in the pot. And instead, we use the terrain marker chart. And we're going to roll on that with a D6. And it's a 1. Jungle. So we'll take our jungle terrain from way over here, excuse me, and we place jungle terrain on the map. Wow, look at this. Now then, because we found jungle, it takes us 1 time, unless we have in our resources a machete, and we have, in fact, that's not it, that's the telescope. Guys, look, it's getting late. Unless we have a machete, there we go, to help us hack through the jungle, so we don't lose 1 time. And in fact, instead, because it's a jungle, we gain 2 drama points. So our drama points go from, we ended up on 12 after the last turn, we've now got up to 14 at the start of turn 2. And we've mapped jungle. I like that. I do like that. We're going further inland. I was wondering whether it was going to be more savannah. It's turned out to be jungle. Makes sense. Look at the way the already assumed jungle is coming down this way. So these mechanics do make some sort of sense. Okay, so the next thing, we now have the 2 branches of this river fork to map. So the first thing we do, we take our no, not that one, not that one. We go with our rivers here. So we have our cup with all the rivers in it. We draw for that left hand section of the fork, and it's another fork. Good grief. Now, which way is that fork going to go? We draw from our borders cup again. Let's take a look, and we have an orange or a red triangle. Do we have any red triangles on this border here? No, we don't. So we can choose what border that goes onto. Let's have a think. I think we want that to be going up into Bushongo. Like so. That's excellent. Now we'll roll for this next fork. Again, swish, swish, swish. A sauce, and look at that. It's a marsh sauce. That might be good for us. That's a marsh sauce. So now we go back to our border markers. Here we go. I'm going to draw 2 border markers because we need to know where to put that sauce. So I'm going to draw 2 border markers, and we can choose between them. That one or that one. So it can either go on that green border or on this splodgy one here. I think we'll put it on the green border. That is a sauce right there. And it's a marshy sauce. So those can go back in to our Borders cup. Thank you very much, Borders cup. Because one of our discoveries was a river fork, if you remember, we take one of the generic source markers from the box in the right hand corner of the map down there and add it to our water counters cup. So we've now found a source there. What do we get for that source? Well, first of all, because it's a special piece, it'll cause us to lose 2 time. That's what it'll do. 9, 8. while we're mapping this, but also it adds 2 drama points. How about that? So we're now 14, we go up to 16 drama points. And in fact, because our patron is Royal Geographical Society, they'll give us an extra drama point. If we were playing multiplayer and 4 or 5 players, we could potentially get 3 drama points, but we are solitaire, so we can only get the extra 1. So we've now got 17 drama points. And I think that is it. Again, the only way we could have increased our drama points even further would be if we had a set of paints. So I mentioned that a few times. We'd have bought a set of paints, we could have sat and painted that, and that would have given us yet another drama point. But one more thing about this source here, which ends in it's a square and there's nothing continuing above it, that's now a blocked border. So in our future travels, we can't actually go that way unless we have canoes, and then we could navigate it that way. But at the moment, that's it. So guys, that is the end of the map phase at the start of the second game turn, because now we've moved into this next area, into Mbala. We've found that it's jungle. This is our first piece of jungle. We've mapped each fork of this river to the borders, one of which is now blocked. This is where we now start our player turns again by moving onto the matrix, repopulating the matrix, and starting that adventure all over again that we did in the last turn, but this time to investigate this area and so on. And when we're playing solitaire like this, then we carry on to the end of 5 game turns, or until we've reached 50 drama points, whichever is the sooner. And you can imagine how much mapping you're going to be doing, how many adventures you're going to be having on here, and how this is going to be full of just a ton of mapping counters as you go along. It would also be great to play again solo, but 2-handed or even 3-handed, and I think that's a real sweet spot if you do that, where you have 3 different directions to start from, and do tons of mapping. That would be absolutely fantastic. So there you have it. We've been checking out Heart of Darkness with this playthrough demo. Heart of Darkness from Legion Wargames and designed by Kim Kanga. I've had a blast with this all of this week. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. We could go on, but if we were to do a full playthrough, I think if you look at the time taken thus far, because of all the talking as well, the videos will be several hours long. And I'm sure nobody wants that. But thanks very much for checking in. I've enjoyed it very much. I hope you've enjoyed it half as much. And please like, please subscribe. It's going to help a million. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.